The benefits are amazing. The big thing that I think about with bone broth is that you are what you eat. So, bone broth benefits. So, really, the way you want to think about it is we are making a liquefied form of bones, cartilage, skin, tendons, ligaments into a very easily assimilable liquid form because we are breaking it all down. All those individual constituents that make up the bones, things like glucosamine and hyaluronic acid, collagen, the minerals, all of that is getting broken down and cooked into the water. And so then when we strain it, we've got all that suspended in the solution, in the bone broth. So those are the building blocks of our bones, joints, skin, all of that. And so that's how they work in our body. We are basically giving our body a very, very easily assimilated and digestible form of those because we can't eat bones. We didn't evolve to be able to do that, but they're really good for you. And so this is a time-honored way of really accessing the nutrition. And I also just want to say that the practice of making bone broth is so incredibly cross-cultural. It's just, there's, probably no, culture that doesn't or didn't do this with their bones. So it's also just a very deeply ancestral practice to make. And it feels really good. It feels really, really good to be in the full waste not, want not, really like in deep connection with your food in this way. So very, very cross-cultural. And so some of the benefits, it's anti-inflammatory. It supports gut health. This is one of the biggest ones with bone broth. It's especially because collagen, which is a protein that is found in all the bones and, well, not in the bones, but in the tissue and the ligaments and all of that. When you cook it, it breaks down into gelatin. And that is what makes a broth nice and jiggly. So if you add too much water, it's not that collagen won't be in there. It's just not going to be as concentrated. So if your broth isn't jiggling, that's okay. If you want it to, that's great. Just add less water and more bones to water ratio, or a smaller bone to water ratio. And make sure you're grabbing things like chicken backs and feet because those are very, very rich in it. So anyway, that gelatin is incredibly healing to the gut. And so this is also really helpful for autoimmune situations because lots of autoimmunity has its root in the gut. Food intolerances. This is such a great place to start instead of going right into an elimination diet, which can be helpful, but can also be extremely challenging. It can sometimes be very triggering. It can sometimes bring up a lot of food issues for people. Not that it's always, a bad therapeutic goal to figure out what foods are triggering autoimmune issues or, just body imbalances and inflammation in general. But a great place to also start is to heal and seal the gut. And bone broth is such a great way to do that. So it brings down inflammation in the body, helps to heal up the gut, can be very helpful for food intolerances, allergies, autoimmune situations. Also really, really good for the joints because, again, we have these building blocks. And I just will read you some of the names and some of these will be kind of familiar to you. These are some of the things you're going to find. So the broad categories are what are called GAGs, which stands for glucosaminoglycans. And this is a category that includes some things you probably heard of: glucosamine, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate. And these are all just, again, tissue, suppleness, all of that. And the hyaluronic acid in particular is very helpful for the body to retain moisture, to hold on to moisture, and also just have supple skin in general. So it's really good for skin health, but also really good for systemic dryness. So things like dry eyes, dry skin, dry hair, cracking nails, vaginal dryness, like any dryness in the body. The hyaluronic acid in bone broth in general is going to be really, really beneficial for. And one thing I want to say is sometimes when you make bone broth, you get a little layer of fat on the top, and I definitely don't throw that out. Like, I've definitely seen recipes where folks are like, scrape the fat off. And I'm just like, no, we want that fat. That's a part of the healing benefits. And when you warm it, so that you'll get that layer when it's cool. When you warm it, that just mixes right in to the broth. So you're going to find minerals. And so the main minerals that you find in here are the minerals that make up bones. And so bone broth, again, because we are ingesting these minerals in a water soluble, easily assimilated form, they help to enhance our bone health and build bone density. So specifically, there's a lot of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. So those are like the main ones. And then of course, those are incredible for other ways to support the body. Magnesium is so good for the nervous system. These are also immune health herbs. Again, anti-inflammatory. So, heart health, these are all wrapped in circulatory health. Those minerals contribute to that as well. And then again, you have the collagen/gelatin, which is just so healing to inflamed tissue, both inside and out. So really, broth keeps you moist and juicy. That's a really good way to think about it. Lubricates the joints, keeps the skin supple, and provides us with really easily assimilated forms of minerals that we want in our body. And it's a sad truth that a lot of our foods and our food system are depleted of minerals. Well, really, because the soils are depleted from minerals. And we are seeing things like regenerative agriculture coming down the line and remineralization of the soils, which is fantastic. And really, that's what bone broth is. It's remineralizing our bodies, and with these just really potent sources of these minerals and other constituents. Also, teeth health. I didn't even mention that, but of course, that's going to be really, really excellent as well if you have issues. You have dental issues and gums, because again, that's tissue integrity. So think about it as moist, juicy, supple skin, good for your joints, lubricates the joints. The constituents in bone broth also help with collagen synthesis. So, also arthritis and things like that. So if you're getting creaky and sort of sore, bone broth is the way.